Okay, so I think this is relevant to anyone who's starting out because this is a story. I had my first businesses when I was about 7 or 8. I had a milk run where I worked for free choc milk. I worked in a supermarket. I started off working there for free and ended up getting paid $1.10 an hour. I worked on the family farm, driving tractors and hosing down the yard after milking. I also had a lawnmower run. I used a family lawnmower with $10 front and back, basically. My son's just started doing that himself. He charges 150 though. So I was always on the earn from a young age. I left school when I was 15. I got a job at a local TV station, 15-year-old TV, lights and cameras. It'd be like being in your studio, Wayne, in that you've got these computers, they animate, you've got cameras, you get designers, etc. So this creative place. So I unleashed my creative beast at 16 in these TV studios, and we were creating graphics to speak to design. I'd get graphics off a photocopied sheet of paper, put it in a massive studio with a massive camera and zoom it in to actually create the graphic and the movement using the lens zoom in the camera to create the movement that went into the TV commercial. So that's how archaic it was. I didn't feel fulfilled unless I was making black screens colorful. In other words, unless I was bringing things to life through visual creativity. And so that drive led through various corporations, TV networks, and so forth. And I was always inquisitive. I was always reading design books. I was always looking at magazines and watching movies and traveling overseas and looking at the way the subway was laid out in New York versus the tube system in London and how they even graphically designed that. So I was always fascinated by design and appreciative of colors and light and movement and so forth. And I just pursued a passion. And I didn't gossip in offices much. I didn't know what everyone else was doing. I was just, how do I make great things and be highly productive? And through making great things and being highly productive, I got pay rises, I got promotions, I ran awards, I won awards with my teams. We exceeded revenue or sales targets, brand reputation, just through determination, and passion.
Something that we share in common is when I was a young kid, I also set up some businesses of my own. I came from my drive was always that my parents weren't very well off and we were always struggling, and I always wanted to have more money to spend on sweets.
Yeah.
So yeah. we used to live near a golf course. So one of my first businesses that I set up, and at the time I didn't realize it was a business. It was just, I want to earn some money. So how do I do that? So we would go to the golf course. We would climb over the fence. We would go into the areas where people would lose balls. So in the green, the trees. And we would go and hunt for golf balls. And then we would fill up a bucket, take them home, wash them, put them into bags of like 5, and then sell them, and then go around and back to the same golf course and then sell them back to the people that had lost them. And
right on.
Yeah.
I love it.
I just rallied my mates around and was like, who wants to do this? And like, I had 3 or 4 friends, one would be over there finding balls and would be over the other side. And I look back and I go, like, crazy.
I was a legend. Well, the interesting thing is, and I do this through Compadres with, entrepreneurs and individuals, is that the burden you carry, right? So the burden you carry will become the purpose that you live into. So your burden was being skint and creating your own future. So whatever that age was, you were creating then. You were creating a future for yourself because the burden you carried was, being skint as a family. Similar stuff with me, but and that's usually a good. I know we're here to talk about futures for young people. I think that's a good basis to become aware of is what's, rather than which career am I going to take. Just think about what's the burden you carry and the difference that you want to make. And that's obviously manifested from golf balls into, design briefs.
Yeah. I mean, I did the whole thing of washing cars as well, for, £5 back then. I remember I would go and buy sweets at bulk and then package them up and then take them to school and then sell them in packs and make
Wow.
money.
You're
Um,
you're like the legal version of Jay-Z.
yeah, and you're right. Back then my drive was parents couldn't afford to give me enough lunch money, and
Yeah.
so
Wow.
my only option was to make more money so then I can go and buy a
Yeah.
more substantial lunch.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
me and my mates go to McDonald's for lunch and being like, oh, I can't do that. How can I do that? Oh, I need to do these things instead. So yeah, it's interesting, very interesting. And I think now,
Mm.
back to your point, um, I always look at people that have influenced my life massively, and Clive, you're definitely one of those people. Um,
Thank you.
but within my career, there's this man called Mark Waters who I always talk about to people as like one of my heroes, and he was the one who helped me get into the design industry. And so through my purpose, I'm always trying to find ways that I can help people to um, whether it's understanding, educating them on design, or supporting them with work experience, or trying to help and create
Mm.
a community of people that I can help at scale, because
Mm.
I know what it felt like to be helped by that man. And if I can do that 1,000 times over, that's my kind of target, because that will make me really feel like I've helped the world in my own way. And I think
Yeah.
it's interesting. The same with
Yeah.
Compadres, right?
Yeah. So, and what is your target? Is it 1,000?
At the moment, I would like to help a thousand a thousand people
By when?
in some way over the next
By
2 years.
how long?
Next 2 years, 2 to 3 years, I would say. I
Yeah.
and then that number will change to 10,000 and then a million.
Yeah.
But you got to
Yeah.
start.
Yeah. I love it. I think you should be have that very present and have a little counter on your website. Do it. Do
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Because of those 1,000 people, the change that you make on those individuals, and then their families, and then within that 1,000 people, you're probably going to create, let's say, 50 Waynes, who will also have a story in 10 years' time, and they'll be doing a podcast or whatever it is then, and they'll be saying, yep, I'll never forget this guy called Wayne Brown, who supported me, and now I want to go and help, 1,000 people. So it's like you're creating the network effect of good vibrations. Well done.
yeah, yeah. And I guess that, my question to you would be like around legacy. When you look back in 10 years' time, what would you hope to be your legacy? What would you hope that people say about Clive Burcham?
Well, I think it came to light this December, actually, when I was writing the recap newsletter for, there's a lot of end of year, this is what I've achieved kind of stuff going on. And I like to talk about the people I work with, not necessarily myself. What was evident was that the people that I'd worked with, including yourself, Wayne, had achieved transformational things in their life. So yourself with Nova, some other compadres have done some incredible things, started businesses, reinvented businesses, launched new ideas. And so my legacy in 10 years' time is how many people and organizations can I have a positive effect on in their evolution and help leaders see new futures for themselves that they otherwise wouldn't have seen. I'd say that's the legacy I'd like to create. And the legacy that is being created. And the reason why I'm doing that is I love seeing people realize their potential. And I love, but basically, if I go back to earlier life where I loved, turning a black screen into, as in nothing into something, like some kind of creative expression. I think it's a similar application, but it's with humans and their business. So how do I work with someone to have them see colors in their life that they hadn't seen before about themselves and their business? So I think that is the legacy that I'm working towards. Not necessarily, it's definitely not about me. It's about the color.
Yeah. And what would you say to someone who is struggling with seeing the color, whether it's in their business or whether it's someone who's young looking at their future going, I don't know if I can see what's right for me and what's wrong for me. Like,
Okay.
say to help cover that.
I'd say a bunch of things. Exercise. Get physically active, because through the process of deep breathing and heartbeat, etc., there's a meditative process whereby you're rinsing the cortisol out of your body, and you're getting into a more meditative state, and you're shifting the stresses from your amygdala to other parts of your brain. So therefore you can manifest great ideas. That's one bit. The other bit is I would start talking to people. Like, find people who inspire you, that can unblock your current thought processes. And then the third thing I do is just get on with it and try things. So, buy whatever the design program is and start designing things, or the edit program or the animation program, or, like you did, go find that golf course and resell the golf balls to the people who have lost them in the first place. Whatever it might be, just get on with it and experiment. So get out of your comfort zone and physically exert yourself, because that leads to good vibrations. Be in communication. Have lots of meetings with lots of people. Meet people. Meetings create ideas. And then act on some of those ideas. Just put them in action. Like, I have a philosophy which speaks to my history, is adversity wins. So there is wins in adversity, and by facing adversity is where you have the greatest wins in the greatest sources of wisdom are through adversity. So any blocker or obstacle, or problem or challenge, is actually the pathway to something awesome. So if you are stuck, great. That's awesome.
Will Smith has this talk where he discusses jumping out of a plane. Have you seen that?
No, sounds frightening.
He says people spend their lives trying to avoid pain, and he says jumping out of a plane is the scariest, most painful thing that you can do to yourself. And he goes on to explain that, first thing is you're around talking back with your mates about, let's do a skydive, and you go, everyone's all up for it, and then you get to the venue, you see the plane, you get suited up, you jump on the plane, and then the plane goes up in the air, and you're like, oh shit, this is real, this is going to actually happen. And then you're going up, and you're looking out the window, and you're going up in your brain, you're going, oh my god, why am I doing this? This is scary. And then the door opens, and I'm talking from my own experience here as well, because I've done this. And the door opens, Whoa. The wind hits you, and you're just like, oh my god, I am like so scared. Why am I doing this? Am I sure? And then the person behind you taps you on the shoulder. You look out, and then you jump, and then you forget about all of the things that could go wrong. Like in that moment, you're just free falling, and you're just having the time of your life. You're forgetting that jumped 10,000 feet to what could be your death. This could be all the things that could go wrong. The parachute might not open.
Mm,
The person that's taking you down could faint and pass out, and like, but none of that comes to your mind. You're just out looking and enjoying the moment and experience.
mm,
I think
mm,
I always say to myself, when you're going through moments of struggle and you're scared or any pain, on the other side is huge opportunity for growth and to experience huge amounts of love, I think, which is essentially what comes out of going through that, those terrible times, offers opportunity
yeah,
for breath as well.
yeah.
And yeah, I've certainly been through those moments in my life many, many times. I think moving to Australia was
Hmm.
certainly one of them for me.
Mm, yeah, yeah, and they don't stop. Yeah, well, there's two states of mind. One's fear and one's love,
Mm.
and you know, the pathway through fear is action. So, if you're afraid about what you're going to do next, and like there's a lot to ask of young people about. My kids, both of them are quite focused individuals. So, and they're 15 and 17. They know what they want to do, which is, I think, very unusual. And it's not through, I've forced them or anything. It's just that they're lucky enough to know that. Whereas I know that a lot of people are umming and ahhing, and they're even umming and questioning it, even though they're at their fourth year of university studying economics. They're like, I still don't know what I'm doing with my life. So, or why? And that's the
Yeah.
most important thing. So if we go back to what's the burden I carry and the difference I want to make, and what's the why behind that, it'll be surely easier. And as you know, I think it's Viktor Frankl said, you have the big enough, a big enough why, and the how is irrelevant. So, and then when you get in the way of your why, when your stuff that goes on in your head gets in the way of your why, it disempowers your mission, because it's all about you, and your why's got to be about the greater community and the greater good. And so I'm going to jump out of the aeroplane because it's going to give me a sense of freedom to get me over a hurdle and experience something in the unknown is a great test. And if you use that metaphor, which you did, and Will Smith obviously does, to other aspects of what you're doing. So, you talked about moving here from England. I experienced the same thing, if you like, moving from the country back to the city. When I was, my age now, basically, only a year ago, I found that incredibly intense. Whereas I've moved to New York before, I didn't find that a problem at all. That was easy.
How interesting.
So, yeah.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about you. How do you set up for your days? What does a day in Clive's life look like?
Well, I've adapted a philosophy from a guy called James Mark Comer. It's called Win the Day. So if I gave you more time and money, you're just going to find something to spend it on. And there's only a certain amount of time you can create. So therefore, how do I win the day and set my day up powerfully? So for me, it's some form of meditation or spiritual experience, manifestation. This is what I'm going to do today. This is how it's going to look and feel. I will, and that could be depending on, the location and the situation. So this morning I've woken up, I've had some empowering conversations with people. I've ridden my bike into the mountains, and now I'm talking to you. I'm going to go for a horse ride, a motorbike ride, and then I'm coming back to the city. Today, that's a fulfilling day. but I have some goals for this year in different domains. I'm probably not as well mapped out as you are, Wayne. You're quite extraordinary in the way you do them. Mine are really simple. They're broken down into locations, clients, and domains. So, health and well-being, business, family, and I get present to those at the top of each week, and sometimes each day. I'm not a type of person who needs my goals on my wall right in front of me. So each day is a calling to the outcomes that I'm driving for my clients, basically, or my partners, or my children, or my health and well-being. So win the day is the key.
I'm doing something similar to yourself. So last year I actually looked at what are the things that I'm not doing that are prohibiting me from being my best version of myself.
Yeah.
And I think that probably came out of the conversations we were having together, to be honest. So I looked at what are some good practices to have. So moving more was one of them. So dedicating half an hour every morning to going for a morning walk. And I'm trying to do 10,000 steps. 10,000 steps a day. That's my minimum target. So I know that means going for a morning and an afternoon, or a morning and an evening walk.
Great.
Which has been great for me, to be honest. And then I'm doing my morning meditation, which is like 15 minutes. And then whilst I'm on my walk, I'm doing a gratitude type meditation, because I think we just take for granted that we can see, hear, taste, walk, talk, and that's just like our God-given right as humans. And I think that I often go to myself, I'm so grateful to live a life, normal life, so doing my gratitude meditations is super important to me. And then I have a daily to-do list and a weekly to-do list. Opposite to you, I have to see everything, so I write down all my things that I need to do, and then I have this technique where I only tick off 6 things a day, and if I tick off more, the day's been outstanding. If I tick off just 6, I'm happy. And that's a technique that I've been using since middle of last year, and it's served me well to stay on track. And then on top of those things, I also have this rule where I do 20 minutes of learning something new every day. And so you can split it up into 5 minutes of learning language, 5 minutes of reading a book, or whatever suits you best. But I think, spending at least 20 minutes every day doing something that educates yourself. It could be learning about Bitcoin, or watching one of the videos that you share in our Bitcoin chat. It could be. So it's really easy to stick and win when you kind of approach life similar to what you're saying and what I'm saying, because you're over the year, if I do 20 minutes of learning every single day across a year, it becomes many, many hours. Whereas if I just go, okay, I might read a book when I'm on holiday for 10 days, it's like, yeah, but putting the reps in, I think is what we're saying, right? Put the reps in, turn dividends in the
Fantastic.
future. Yeah.
Well, I think people could learn a lot from your structure and process. And it sounds like you're a highly optimized dude, which I admire. It's very good.
I think I've learned it, though. I've invested a lot of, money in training and development, and, work like yourself, who I think helps people to see the color, and you have to And you know, the pain that I've gone through as a business owner, every single year I go through pain. And normally lasts 3 to 6 months, sometimes longer. But out of that pain comes more growth and fulfillment and all of the things, Nova, all of the great things that will help me personally to survive, thrive, and prosper. So there's a lot of that in it, right? With what you do at Compadres. You want to just more about actually you and your business now?
Yeah. Well, it's very simple. As I said before, is how do I help leaders and entrepreneurs see things in themselves and in their businesses that they haven't seen before, and help them with that journey. And I do everything from working with founders who are blocked on the growth of their business through helping devise and launch new businesses, helping founders step back from businesses and elevating their management teams. I'm in the middle of helping them businesses do some mergers and acquisitions and investments. So it's a kaleidoscope of creativity, but in the process of helping people realize their potential as an individual and a business leader, and mostly in the creative industry. It seems mostly, not totally, but mostly.
And what's 2025, the year ahead? What? Tell me about what's in store for you and Compadres.
What's the 1st of January, and there's some significant and fascinating things happening. I'm grateful. I've got a lot of new clients that are starting, like fascinating people, fascinating humans, and that's a real honor. It's a real honor to actually get an insight into people's minds and where they're going and what they're doing, and to walk on that path with them. Some people are stuck and blocked and can't quite see the colors, and other people can see the colors and they need someone to help them paint it. And so those spectrums are fascinating. And the year for me is around, I admire you, Wayne, as I was saying to yourself and Jenny before, probably about how do I optimize myself and be more intentional, because I'm a fast learning processor. Like I have an engine that's not usual, which is good. It's also can be a problem. That could be ADHD, don't know, or it could be just I've got a unique brain. Whatever it is, it doesn't really matter. But my brain is wired in a way in which I can do a lot in a very short period of time. I can solve complex problems. So it's making sure that I'm optimizing my life, because I'm at a phase now I don't want to mess around with anything, with relationships, with wasting time, with business outcomes, with my health and well-being, or my growth. So this year is very much around the optimization of my life for growth. And my life for growth means the people around me. It's not like, Clive's going to grow, X. It's how does everyone around me feel the benefit of that.
Yeah.
So my son's going into year 10, my daughter's going to university, other people in my family are starting new careers and new adventures. My compadres are all, some are doing some incredible things. Making sure that we're all moving in that positive path together.
And what are some of the techniques that you're going to be using for optimizing?
Good question. I think it's just monitoring what I'm doing with my time. So be intentional about blagging, be intentional about being effective, be intentional about being fun, being intentional with your communication and your outcomes. Yeah, I think it's just being intentional is probably the biggest calling this year.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I love that.
Hope so.
Quick fire round. I want to ask you just a couple of last questions. What's the best piece of advice you've been given?
Do what makes you feel alive, by an amazing designer called Seth Epstein. He runs a business called Losyork, Losyork, which is an amazing visual business in America. Yeah, he said that to me. Do what makes you feel alive.
Where did you first start to invest?
2019, 2020.
And was that when you became aware of it, or have you been aware?
Oh, no, I'd heard about it before then, 5 years before, but I didn't do anything.
Yeah. Back in 2010, I think, no.
Oh, wow.
2012, 13, me and my mates were looking at Bitcoin, and back then it was flirting with being around the $300 mark, I think, USD.
Oh,
and
wow.
And I looked at it and I went, nah, no chance. I'm staying in stocks. It's what I know. It's all I know. It's a con. And I think, God, if I just put in 1,000.
Yeah. But also in 10 years' time, there's another guy called Wayne that looked at Bitcoin when it was 100,000, it'll be $1 million, and he'll be saying the same thing.
Exactly. And which is why now I just go, right, how much am I willing to invest? What do I need personally from this experience? What do I need to attain? And for me, I look at it and I go pension, and I go, right, how much do I need to put in to make this worth? Wow.
I'm about to get a significant piece of money. Let's just say, when I say significant, it's not life-changing. It's just, a deposit on something. And I'm going to put that, it's tens of thousands of dollars. So it's a decent amount of money, but it's not life-changing. I'm going to put all of that money into Sui straight away. Yeah. Fuck it.
Fair.
Because it's not going to not go up in the next 6 months. It's not going to not go up.
Yeah. And what are the 3 things that you would say to somebody who's coming out of university and going into the world of work?
You don't deserve to get paid. You have to earn it. It's an honor that someone would employ you. And remember that someone's paying them, and so they're trying to honor somebody who's paying them. So honor your colleagues, honor your the business that you're working with, because in doing that, you're honoring the community and you're honoring yourself. Don't blag. Don't be ungrateful for the opportunity that you're being paid to provide a skilled service and for your time. Don't be entitled, because it's not going to be fruitful for you.
And let's say future Clive is watching this back 10 years on. What message would you give to your future self?
Make it count.
I love that. And you were right to invest in Bitcoin and Sui when you did.
Yeah. And that wild gamble Supra. Wow.
Well done.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So what's next for you and Compadres, and how can people get in touch with you?
People can get in touch with me, and I love talking to people and seeing them realize their potential. Best way is through my website or socials. It's We Are Compadres, or wearecompadres.com.
Beautiful. Thanks, Clive. Thank you so much
Fabulous.
for taking the time to have a chat. I think we've uncovered a lot of great insights there from yourself. And I could have carried on talking to you for another half an hour, but I appreciate you and your time. And we've gone over already by 30 minutes there. So I'm sure we can do
I'm
another.
easy. Anytime. Yeah, anytime. Great talking to you too.